Imagine for a moment standing on the edge of everything you've ever wanted. Your dreams, your ambitions, your deepest desires, all just out of reach, and yet they are not unreachable. What separates those who seize what they want from those who watch it slip away is not luck, talent, or timing. It is the art of asking. Most people walk through life in silence, holding their needs, their goals, and their questions inside, too afraid of rejection, too hesitant to reveal what they truly want. But what if I told you that the single most powerful tool to transform your life, to unlock opportunities, and to command your destiny is sitting right inside you right now? Asking is not weakness. Asking is not begging. Asking is the act of stepping fully into your power, claiming your space, and asserting your vision with clarity, confidence, and courage. Think about the moments in your life when you held back, when you stayed quiet, when you assumed no before you even spoke. Those moments are not just lost chances, they are lessons waiting to teach you the power of expression, the weight of intention, and the influence you carry when you dare to ask. Every interaction, every relationship, every opportunity you pursue begins with a single act: speaking up. Asking is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It is the energy that transforms passive hope into active pursuit. It is the difference between standing in the shadows of what could have been and stepping fully into the reality you deserve. But here's the truth most people never face. Asking is not easy. It requires courage, the courage to risk rejection, to risk judgment, to risk the discomfort of vulnerability. It requires clarity, the clarity to know exactly what you want, why you want it, and how to express it in a way that commands attention. It requires confidence, the quiet, unshakable belief that your voice matters and that your request is not only valid, but necessary. It requires persistence, the relentless refusal to accept temporary setbacks as permanent defeat. And it requires vulnerability, the willingness to be seen fully, to lay your intentions bare, and to create connections that transcend mere words. Master these, and you step into a world where doors open, people listen, and opportunities multiply. This is not a book about passive waiting or polite suggestion. This is a book about taking control, about seizing your destiny through deliberate, skillful, and fearless action. Each chapter will guide you through the mindset, the strategies, and the psychological power you need to ask with authority, authenticity, and impact. You will learn to transform fear into courage, hesitation into clarity, doubt into confidence, and rejection into persistence. You will discover that the act of asking is a profound tool for personal transformation, a practice that reshapes the way the world responds to you and the way you respond to the world. By the time you reach the end of this journey, you will no longer see asking as a simple act. It will become a way of living. You will carry the knowledge, the courage, and the strategies to claim what you want, influence others, and achieve the extraordinary. So take a deep breath and prepare yourself, because what you're about to learn is not just a skill, it is the key to stepping fully into the life you are meant to live. Every second you spend listening, reading, or applying these lessons will bring you closer to the person who asks boldly, acts decisively, and never settles for anything less than the life they deserve. The art of asking is your gateway to power, opportunity, and transformation. The first step in mastering the art of asking begins with a concept that is deceptively simple yet profoundly transformative: the courage to ask. Asking, at its core, is an act of vulnerability. It requires a person to step out of the comfort zone of silent endurance and confront the uncertainty of another's response. Many people live their lives silently, believing that speaking up, requesting guidance, or expressing a need is somehow a weakness. They fear judgment, rejection, or the possibility of appearing needy. This fear is not a trivial emotion. It is deeply embedded in our psyche because it ties directly to our sense of self-worth. When you hesitate to ask, you are, in essence, giving power to silence. The first chapter is about recognizing that silence is not strength. It is a barrier that holds you back from opportunities, growth, and fulfillment. True courage is not the absence of fear, it is the willingness to act despite the fear. The act of asking is an exercise in courage because it requires you to acknowledge your desires and take the risk of exposing them to the world. To cultivate this courage, one must first understand the root of the fear that prevents people from asking. Rejection is the primary concern for most, yet the pain of regret from never asking is far greater. People often look back on their lives and do not remember the no's they received. They remember the times they never asked, the doors they never tried to open, and the opportunities they let slip by. Fear thrives in imagination. It magnifies scenarios that rarely come true. By confronting these imagined fears, you begin to weaken their power. Courage grows when you see that the act of asking is not a threat to your dignity, but a declaration of your willingness to pursue your goals actively. Every question you dare to voice is a step toward personal empowerment. The courage to ask is also rooted in self-belief. If you do not value your own needs, desires, and ideas, you will struggle to ask for anything. Asking requires the conviction that your voice matters, that your dreams are worthy, and that your ambitions deserve pursuit. Self-doubt is the silent assassin of potential. It whispers that you are not enough, that your request is too bold, or that you will be rejected. Overcoming this internal narrative is essential. You must replace self-doubt with self-respect, recognizing that asking is not an imposition, but an assertion of your right to pursue a better life. This mindset shift is subtle but profound. When you internalize that your aspirations are valid, your ability to ask for help, resources, or opportunities becomes natural and unforced. Courage in asking is not about demanding or expecting. It is about taking responsibility for your life. It is easy to wait for opportunities to fall into your lap, but this passivity often leads to stagnation. The world does not reward silence. It rewards action. Every successful person, every influential figure, every leader you admire has one thing in common. They asked. They asked for guidance, for mentorship, for opportunities, for second chances, and sometimes even for forgiveness. Their success is not merely the result of talent or luck. It is the result of their willingness to confront discomfort and make their desires known. Courage transforms asking from a mere action into a habit of life. A habit that ensures that doors open where once there were walls. To embrace the courage to ask, one must also redefine what it means to fail. Many people avoid asking because they equate a negative response with personal failure. This is a fundamental misunderstanding. A no is not a reflection of your worth. It is simply information. It is an answer that redirects you, teaches you, and often strengthens your resolve. Fear of rejection creates paralysis, but each act of asking, regardless of the outcome, builds resilience. Courage is strengthened in the moment of exposure, in the risk of vulnerability. Every time you ask, you reinforce the understanding that your life is yours to shape, and that you are entitled to pursue it boldly. Moreover, the courage to ask is intimately connected to self-awareness. You must know what you want before you can ask for it. Clarity is power. When you are vague or uncertain, the act of asking can feel weak or ineffective. But when you articulate your desires clearly, you signal confidence, purpose, and intentionality. Courageous asking is always paired with clarity of vision. Knowing what you seek gives your question weight, and this weight influences the way it is received. People respond to conviction because it inspires confidence and respect. The first chapter emphasizes that courage without clarity is incomplete. Both are essential ingredients in the alchemy of asking. The process of developing courage is gradual, and it often begins with small, deliberate steps. Asking does not always have to be monumental. It can start with small requests, simple inquiries, or reaching out to someone for advice. Each small act of asking is a rehearsal for larger, more consequential requests. It is in these seemingly minor interactions that courage is nurtured, strengthened, and refined. Over time, the act of asking becomes less intimidating and more natural until it becomes an integral part of how you navigate the world. Ultimately, the first chapter of The Art of Asking teaches that courage is not merely a personal virtue, it is a strategic tool. It transforms hesitation into action, fear into energy, and uncertainty into clarity. By embracing the courage to ask, you reclaim power over your life. You move from passivity to agency, from doubt to determination. The ability to ask boldly, clearly, and consistently opens doors that would otherwise remain closed, invites growth, and positions you to receive opportunities that align with your potential. This is the foundation upon which all the subsequent chapters are built. The understanding that asking is not weakness, not imposition, but the most direct expression of courage, self-respect, and the unwavering commitment to pursue a life of purpose. Courage in asking is the seed from which transformation grows. It is the quiet but potent force that shifts lives from mediocrity to possibility. When you choose to ask, you break free from invisible chains, step into your power, and declare to the world that your needs, your vision, and your voice matter. It is in this act, this deliberate choice to speak, to request, and to risk, that true progress begins. Every journey of success, every story of achievement begins with someone daring to ask, and this is where the art of asking finds its most profound expression. The journey into the art of asking moves beyond courage into the terrain of fear and rejection, territories that most people avoid at all costs. Fear is a natural human response, hardwired into our brains to protect us from danger, but it often becomes a prison when applied to asking. Rejection, the anticipated no before it even occurs, is the primary source of this fear. Many people live constrained lives, limiting their desires, ambitions, and actions simply because they are terrified of being turned down. The second chapter focuses entirely on transforming this fear into a tool for growth, rather than allowing it to be a cage that restricts potential. It is not enough to simply have the courage to ask. One must also be prepared to face rejection without internalizing it as failure. Learning to navigate this terrain is essential, because asking without the willingness to risk a no is asking in name only. It is hesitancy dressed as action, and the world recognizes it. Rejection is inevitable. It comes in all forms, small and large, and no one is immune. What differentiates successful individuals from those who stagnate is not the absence of rejection, but the ability to respond to it constructively. Most people fear the temporary discomfort of a negative response and interpret it as a reflection of their worth. This fear is misguided. A no is simply information, a signal that either the timing is off, the situation is unsuitable, or that a different approach is required. It is not a verdict on your abilities, character, or potential. The moment you internalize this truth, fear loses its paralyzing grip. Each rejection becomes an opportunity to refine your approach, strengthen your resolve, and gain clarity on what you truly need. In this sense, rejection is not an enemy. It is a guide, a teacher, and a necessary companion on the journey of asking. To embrace rejection as a tool, one must first confront the stories we tell ourselves about failure. Many people imagine the worst-case scenarios before even posing a question. They rehearse negative outcomes, exaggerating the consequences of being turned down. These imagined catastrophes create unnecessary barriers and magnify the fear of asking. The truth is that the actual experience of rejection is almost always far less daunting than the mental rehearsal. When faced with a real no, most people discover they are capable of handling it, adapting to it, and moving forward. The key is to separate your identity from your requests. Your value is not determined by how others respond to you. It is inherent, constant, and independent of external validation. Another vital aspect of overcoming fear and rejection is shifting perspective. When you ask, you are not imposing upon anyone. You are simply extending a possibility. You are creating an avenue for collaboration, assistance, or growth. By reframing asking as an opportunity rather than a demand, fear diminishes and confidence grows. Courage, after all, is amplified when it is paired with purpose and clarity. The more precise you are about what you seek, the more focused your energy becomes, and the less susceptible you are to the emotional weight of rejection. Each carefully considered request carries authority, signaling self-respect and intentionality, which in turn reduces anxiety and fear. The second chapter also emphasizes resilience, the ability to recover quickly from setbacks. Fear and rejection are unavoidable companions on the path of asking, but resilience ensures that neither stops you from moving forward. Resilience is cultivated through experience, reflection, and action. Every time you face rejection and choose to persist, your capacity to handle future obstacles strengthens. Over time, you develop a kind of immunity to the emotional sting of no. This is not coldness or detachment, it is wisdom. It is understanding that life will not always yield to desire on the first attempt, and that persistence, patience, and adaptability are far more powerful than immediate gratification. It is also important to recognize that fear is often magnified by comparison. People see others receiving success, assistance, or opportunities, and assume that their own requests will be dismissed. This comparison feeds anxiety and undermines courage. The truth is that every person's journey is unique, and no one else's response dictates your potential. Fear loses its power when you focus inward, on your own intentions and actions rather than outward, on imagined judgments. By centering your energy on what you can control, your preparation, your clarity, your confidence, you diminish fear and strengthen your ability to ask boldly. The act of asking with fear and the risk of rejection requires preparation. Mental rehearsal, visualization, and self-affirmation are powerful tools in this process. Picture yourself asking. Anticipate the questions or objections that might arise, and rehearse clear, confident responses. This preparation does not guarantee a favorable outcome, but it fortifies your resolve, reduces anxiety, and enhances the likelihood of a positive response. The mind responds to rehearsal as though the event has already occurred, making real-life execution smoother and more natural. Fear may still exist, but it becomes a manageable companion rather than an overwhelming adversary. Another layer in mastering fear and rejection is embracing a growth mindset. Each rejection contains valuable lessons if approached with curiosity rather than defeat. Analyze what happened, reflect on the dynamics, and identify areas for improvement. By extracting lessons from each no, you transform rejection into feedback, and feedback is the currency of growth. The ability to interpret negative responses constructively separates those who stagnate from those who flourish. Fear becomes a signal, not a stop sign. Every rejection is evidence that you are stretching, risking, and evolving, and this awareness fuels future courage. Fear and rejection also humility and empathy. When you ask, you expose your needs and desires, and when you are turned down, you learn patience, understanding, and adaptability. These experiences cultivate emotional intelligence, an essential trait in personal and professional success. The ability to navigate rejection gracefully, without bitterness or self-pity, enhances relationships, builds credibility, and strengthens character. Fear is no longer a limiting force. It becomes a teacher, shaping resilience, empathy, and wisdom. Ultimately, the second chapter of The Art of Asking is about transformation, transforming fear into fuel and rejection into guidance. It emphasizes that the true power of asking is not in the outcome, but in the act itself. Each request, each moment of vulnerability is an assertion of agency, a declaration that your voice matters, that your needs are valid, and that you are committed to pursuing growth despite uncertainty. Fear and rejection are inevitable, but they are not insurmountable. They are the natural companions of anyone daring to live boldly, pursue dreams relentlessly, and harness the transformative power of asking. When fear and rejection are understood, accepted, and integrated into your journey, they cease to be obstacles. They become markers of progress, signals of courage, and catalysts for growth. The second chapter establishes that the path of asking is never free from discomfort. But discomfort is the crucible in which strength, clarity, and resilience are forged. To ask without fear is not the goal. The goal is to ask despite fear, to rise above the hesitation, and to transform every no into a stepping stone toward eventual success. In this process, fear and rejection lose their dominance, and the art of asking becomes not only a skill but a lifestyle, a force that drives purpose, achievement, and self-empowerment. Mastering the art of Asking requires a level of precision and awareness that goes beyond courage and resilience. It demands clarity, the ability to know exactly what you want before you even speak the words. Many people stumble in their asking because they do not take the time to define their desires with precision. They approach opportunities vaguely, unsure of what they truly need, and as a result, their requests lack power and direction. The third chapter emphasizes that clarity is not a luxury. It is the foundation upon which all successful asking is built. Without it, even the bravest and most persistent efforts may fail to yield results. Clarity transforms asking from a hopeful plea into a confident, purposeful act. To understand the power of clarity, one must first recognize how ambiguity weakens a request. When you are unclear about what you want, you send mixed signals to the person you are asking. People respond to confidence, decisiveness and focus, and uncertainty erodes all three. A vague request is like a ship without a rudder. It drifts aimlessly and rarely reaches its intended destination. In contrast, clarity cuts through hesitation and communicates conviction. When you articulate your desires with precision, you demonstrate that you have thought deeply about your goals, that you respect your own needs, and that you are capable of taking decisive action. This clarity commands attention and increases the likelihood of a favorable response. Clarity begins with self-awareness. Before you can ask effectively, you must understand your own motivations, limitations, and priorities. This involves introspection, reflection, and honesty with yourself. What is it that you truly need? What will this request accomplish for you? How does it align with your broader vision and values? By answering these questions with unwavering honesty, you create a foundation for asking that is both authentic and compelling. Self-awareness transforms asking from a random act into a strategic maneuver, ensuring that your requests are meaningful and impactful. Another essential aspect of clarity is specificity. Vague requests, such as "I need help" or "I want guidance," are far less effective than precise requests, like "I need assistance developing a presentation for my client meeting on Thursday," or "Can you mentor me for 3 months on improving my public speaking skills?" Specificity communicates that you have a concrete plan and that your request is actionable. It reduces ambiguity, making it easier for the other person to understand exactly how they can help. The clearer your request, the more confident and empowered you appear, and the more likely you are to receive a positive response. Clarity also requires preparation. It is not enough to know what you want internally. You must be able to express it externally with confidence and coherence. This involves organizing your thoughts, anticipating questions or objections, and rehearsing your delivery. Preparation minimizes hesitation, reinforces your self-assurance, and demonstrates respect for the time and attention of the person you are asking. The act of preparing elevates asking from a spontaneous plea to a deliberate, thoughtful, and strategic interaction. When you prepare with clarity, you signal that your request is serious, well-considered, and worthy of consideration. The third chapter also explores the relationship between clarity and intention. Asking with clarity is inseparable from asking with purpose. When you are clear about what you want, you align your actions with your intentions. This alignment is powerful because it removes doubt and inconsistency, which often undermine effectiveness. Purposeful asking communicates not only what you want, but why it matters. It allows others to see the significance of your request, increasing their willingness to respond favorably. Clarity is therefore not just about precision, it is about creating resonance between your inner vision and your outward expression. Another dimension of clarity involves understanding your audience. Effective asking is not simply about knowing what you want, it is about framing your request in a way that others can understand, relate to, and support. This requires empathy, observation, and insight. When you present a request in a manner that aligns with the priorities, values, and perspectives of the person you are asking, you increase the likelihood of a positive outcome. Clarity is amplified when it is paired with understanding. It ensures that your request is both meaningful and accessible to the person receiving it. Clarity also enhances confidence. Uncertainty breeds hesitation, anxiety, and second-guessing. all of which undermine the act of asking. When you are precise and intentional, fear diminishes because you know exactly what you are seeking and why it matters. Confidence and clarity feed each other in a powerful loop. The clearer you are about your desires, the more confident you feel, and the more confidently you ask, the clearer your intentions appear to others. This dynamic creates momentum, propelling you towards success and transforming the act of asking into a natural, empowering habit. Furthermore, clarity allows for adaptability. When you know your objectives with precision, you can navigate obstacles and objections with flexibility. A clear understanding of your goals enables you to adjust your approach without compromising your vision. If a direct request is declined, clarity allows you to propose alternatives, refine your strategy, or identify other avenues to achieve your aim. Ambiguity, on the other hand, leaves you unprepared, reactive, and vulnerable to disappoint. Clarity provides a map, a compass, and a framework for navigating the inevitable challenges that accompany asking. The third chapter also emphasizes that clarity is not just cognitive, it is emotional. Your internal emotional state must align with the precision of your request. Doubt, hesitation, or conflicting emotions dilute the impact of asking. Emotional clarity means being honest about how much this request matters to you, embracing the stakes involved, and committing fully to the act of asking. This emotional alignment strengthens the authenticity of your request and communicates sincerity to the other person. People respond not only to words, but to the emotional conviction behind them. Emotional clarity amplifies verbal clarity, creating a compelling and persuasive presence. Finally, clarity is a skill that can be cultivated and refined over time. It begins with self-reflection, deep introspection, and careful articulation of your desires. It grows through practice, observation, and feedback. Each act of asking provides an opportunity to sharpen clarity, to learn from experience, and to communicate more effectively. Over time, asking with clarity becomes second nature, a natural expression of purpose, confidence, and intentionality. Those who master this skill unlock a profound advantage in life. They move through opportunities with precision, transform vague hopes into concrete achievements, and engage the world with deliberate and effective action. The third chapter of The Art of Asking demonstrates that clarity is the linchpin of all successful requests. Courage initiates the act of asking, and resilience allows you to endure rejection, but clarity ensures that your asking is powerful, precise, and purposeful. It transforms vague desires into actionable requests, fear into confidence, and hesitation into momentum. Clarity allows you to speak with authority, align intention with action, and navigate challenges with strategy and adaptability. It is the force that turns asking into a transformative act, a skill that unlocks doors, cultivates opportunity, and positions you to receive what you seek with precision and purpose. In mastering clarity, you learn that the power of asking is not in mere words, but in the alignment of mind, heart, and purpose. When you ask with clarity, you communicate vision, conviction, and intention simultaneously. The world responds to certainty, focus, and authenticity, and clarity ensures that these qualities shine through in every request. Through this practice, asking becomes not only an act, but a philosophy, a disciplined approach to life that empowers you to define your desires, articulate them boldly, and move decisively toward the life you envision. Mastering the art of asking requires more than just courage or resilience. It demands a deep understanding of clarity, the ability to know exactly what you want before you even open your mouth. So often, people falter in asking because they themselves are unclear about their desires. They approach opportunities vaguely, uncertain of what they truly need, and as a result, their requests come across as weak or unfocused. The third chapter of this journey emphasizes that clarity is not a luxury, it is the foundation upon which every successful request is built. Without it, even the bravest attempts can fail, because asking without clarity is like launching an arrow without aim. Precision transforms asking from a hesitant plea into a purposeful, confident act, and this transformation is what sets apart those who succeed from those who remain stagnant. The first step toward clarity is self-awareness. Before you can ask effectively, you must understand your own intentions, motivations, and priorities. What do you truly need? Why do you want it? How will this request serve your broader goals or vision? Many people confuse wants with needs, and this confusion weakens the power of their asking. By reflecting deeply and honestly on what matters most, you begin to form a clear mental image of your goal. This internal clarity not only strengthens your resolve, but also ensures that your requests are authentic, meaningful, and actionable. Self-awareness makes asking intentional rather than reactive, and it signals to others that your request is grounded in purpose, not whim. Specificity is the next essential element of clarity. Vague statements like, "I need help," or "Can you assist me sometime?" rarely inspire action. People respond to precision, to requests that are concrete and actionable. Instead of a general plea, framing your needs clearly, for instance, "I need help preparing a presentation for a client meeting on Thursday," or "Can you mentor me for 3 months to improve my public speaking?" signals preparation, focus, and seriousness. Specificity removes ambiguity and gives the person you're asking a clear path to respond, increasing the likelihood of a positive outcome. When your request is defined, your confidence naturally rises, and the act of asking becomes sharper, more compelling, and more effective. Preparation amplifies clarity. It is not enough to know what you want internally, you must be able to express it convincingly and coherently. Preparation involves organizing your thoughts, anticipating questions or objections, and rehearsing your delivery. By preparing, you minimize hesitation, reduce anxiety, and ensure that your request communicates purpose and confidence. A well-prepared ask is a reflection of respect for the other person's time and attention, signaling that you have considered every angle and are serious about your request. Preparation turns asking from a spontaneous, uncertain action into a deliberate strategic interaction. Clarity is inseparable from intention. Knowing what you want is powerful, but understanding why you want it is transformative. When your desires are rooted in purpose, your requests carry weight and authenticity. Purposeful asking communicates not just the content of your request, but its significance, allowing others to understand and resonate with your objectives. When your intention is clear, it transforms asking into a form of influence. You are not simply requesting, you are articulating a vision, demonstrating your commitment, and inviting others to participate in the fulfillment of that vision. The clarity of your purpose amplifies the clarity of your ask. Understanding your audience is another critical aspect of clarity. Effective asking is not only about knowing what you want, but also about presenting it in a way that is relatable and actionable for the person receiving it. Empathy and observation allow you to frame your request in alignment with the other person's values, priorities, and perspectives. A request that is clear to you may be confusing or unconvincing to someone else unless it is communicated in a way that resonates with them. Clarity, when paired with audience awareness, transforms asking into a bridge that connects intentions to opportunities and people to possibilities. Clarity also cultivates confidence. Uncertainty breeds hesitation, self-doubt, and anxiety, all of which diminish the power of asking. When you know precisely what you want and why it matters, your fear diminishes and your confidence grows. This confidence is perceptible. People respond to it naturally. When you articulate a request with clear intent and unwavering purpose, you inspire trust, credibility, and respect. Confidence and clarity reinforce each other. The clearer your vision, the more confident you feel, and the more confidently you ask, the clearer your vision appears to others. This creates a cycle of momentum that propels you towards success. Adaptability is another advantage that clarity provides. When you fully understand your objectives, you can navigate obstacles and objections without losing sight of your goal. If an initial request is declined, clarity allows you to reframe your approach, propose alternatives, or identify different routes to achieve the same aim. Ambiguity leaves you reactive and uncertain, vulnerable to disappointment. Clarity gives you a framework and a compass. You know what matters, you know what you are willing to negotiate, and you know when to persist or pivot. This strategic flexibility is a hallmark of effective askers. Clarity is not only intellectual but also emotional. Your internal emotional state must align with the precision of your request. Doubt, hesitation, or conflicting emotions dilute the power of asking. Emotional clarity requires acknowledging how much this request matters to you and committing fully to the process, regardless of outcome. This alignment of mind and emotion strengthens authenticity and communicates sincerity to the person receiving your request. People respond not only to words, but to the emotional conviction behind them. When your emotional state and intellectual clarity converge, your asking becomes compelling and persuasive. Clarity is a skill that improves with practice. Self-reflection, thoughtful articulation, and learning from experience are. Refine this ability over time. Every act of asking provides an opportunity to sharpen your precision, enhance your confidence, and communicate more effectively. Over time, asking with clarity becomes natural, a habit rather than a conscious effort. Those who master this skill move with purpose, turn abstract desires into concrete outcomes, and interact with the world with strategic intention. Asking ceases to be an act of hope and becomes an act of agency. In this third chapter, clarity is presented as the linchpin of all successful asking. Courage initiates the act. Resilience sustains it in the face of rejection, but clarity ensures that your request is focused, purposeful, and compelling. It transforms vague desires into actionable statements, hesitation into confidence, and uncertainty into momentum. Clarity allows you to communicate with authority, align your intentions with your actions, and navigate challenges strategically. Mastery of clarity turns asking into a transformative act, opening doors, creating opportunities, and positioning you to receive what you seek effectively. By cultivating clarity, you learn that the power of asking is not simply in the words themselves, but in the alignment of mind, heart, and purpose. Asking with clarity signals vision, conviction, and intentionality. The world responds to certainty and authenticity, and clarity ensures these qualities shine through in every request. Through this practice, asking evolves from a simple skill into a philosophy, a disciplined approach to life that empowers you to define your desires, communicate them boldly, and pursue your goals with precision and unwavering determination. Mastering the art of asking requires more than knowing what you want. It requires a mindset that exudes confidence. Confidence is the silent force that transforms requests from tentative inquiries into compelling proposition. Many people hesitate to ask because they doubt themselves, fearing judgment or failure. This lack of belief in one's own worth or capability undermines even the clearest and most courageous requests. The fourth chapter focuses entirely on cultivating and projecting confidence, understanding that the energy with which you ask is often as important as the words themselves. Confidence is not arrogance. It is the steady assurance that your voice, your needs, and your vision are valid and deserving of attention. Without it, asking can appear weak, uncertain, and unconvincing, no matter how justified the request may be. Confidence begins internally. To ask effectively, you must first believe that you are worthy of receiving help, opportunities, or resources. This belief is not born from external validation, but from self-respect and self-awareness. When you recognize your own value, you stop viewing asking as an imposition and start seeing it as a natural part of pursuing your goals. This internal certainty becomes palpable in your communication, reinforcing your presence and authority. People instinctively respond to individuals who convey self-assurance, clarity of purpose, and composure. The confident asker understands that their request is not a favor to themselves alone, but a potential opportunity for collaboration and mutual benefit. Confidence is strengthened by preparation. The act of preparing your request, organizing your thoughts, anticipating questions, and understanding potential objections builds assurance in both your knowledge and your delivery. Preparation reduces the uncertainty that fuels hesitation. When you rehearse and refine your request, you create a mental framework that allows you to respond calmly and decisively, regardless of the initial reaction you encounter. This readiness signals to the listener that you are serious, intentional, and competent. Qualities that dramatically increase the likelihood of a positive outcome. The more thoroughly prepared you are, the less fear and doubt can infiltrate your request. Another critical component of confidence in asking is the alignment of intent and communication. It is not enough to feel confident internally. You must project that confidence outward through tone, body language, and verbal articulation. A confident asker speaks clearly, maintains eye contact, and communicates without hesitation. They demonstrate composure, even in moments of potential rejection. Confidence is contagious. It inspires trust and respect. When others perceive that you are self-assured, they are more inclined to listen, consider, and respond positively. The energy you bring to the request often precedes and amplifies the content of your words. The fourth chapter also emphasizes the importance of self-assurance in navigating objections or resistance. Confidence allows you to remain steady in the face of hesitation, doubt, or pushback. When someone questions your request or expresses reluctance, a confident asker responds with composure and clarity rather than defensiveness or panic. They understand that resistance is not a judgment of their worth, but a natural part of negotiation and dialogue. Confidence enables them to pivot, reframe, or reinforce their request in a way that maintains credibility and strengthens the likelihood of success. Fear and doubt, by contrast, make objections feel like insurmountable threats, causing hesitation and undermining effectiveness. Confidence is also fueled by experience. Every successful request, every moment in which you face uncertainty and ask despite fear, reinforces your self-assurance. Equally important are the experiences in which you fail or are met with rejection. A confident individual does not internalize a no as a reflection of personal inadequacy. Instead, they view it as information, feedback, and an opportunity to adjust strategy. The repeated practice of asking, combined with reflection on both successes and setbacks, cultivates a steady, resilient confidence that grows stronger over time. Each experience becomes a building block, strengthening the foundation of assured action. An essential element of confidence in asking is the ability to detach from outcomes. True confidence is not dependent on immediate success, but on the consistent willingness to act. It is rooted in the understanding that asking itself is a demonstration of agency, initiative, and self-respect. When you detach from the need for approval or affirmation, your requests become free from desperation and overeagerness. This detachment enhances your presence and impact because people naturally respond more favorably to calm, purposeful, and self-possessed energy. Confidence, in this sense, is not about controlling results. It is about controlling your approach and presence in the moment. The chapter also explores the intersection of confidence and authenticity. A confident asker does not fabricate certainty or overstate capability. They operate from a place of truth. Authenticity communicates integrity and builds trust. People sense when someone is genuine versus when they are pretending or masking doubt. Confidence anchored in honesty carries weight and influence because it is believable, compelling, and sustainable. Pretending confidence, by contrast, is fragile and often unconvincing. The art of asking, therefore, involves cultivating real self-belief that translates naturally into action and communication. Another dimension of confidence is the alignment between knowledge and action. Being confident does not mean knowing everything or having all the answers. It means trusting in your ability to navigate challenges and learn along the way. A confident asker demonstrates competence and preparation, while also embracing flexibility and adaptability. This combination reassures the listener that you are capable, resourceful, and committed, making them more likely to invest their time, energy, or resources in your request. Confidence, rooted in both preparation and adaptability, signals reliability and foresight. Furthermore, confidence strengthens resilience. When you approach asking with assuredness, you are less vulnerable to the emotional sting of rejection or skepticism. A confident mindset reframes obstacles as opportunities for refinement and growth. Fear of judgment diminishes because you understand that your value and agency are independent of external approval. Confidence transforms asking from a fraught or hesitant act into a purposeful, empowered choice. It equips you to face resistance, overcome hesitation, and continue pursuing opportunities with unwavering determination. The fourth chapter underscores that confidence is not a static trait, but a cultivated state of mind. It grows through self-awareness, preparation, experience, and reflection. Confidence becomes a habit, a default approach to asking that communicates purpose, clarity, and composure. When paired with courage, clarity, and resilience, confidence ensures that your requests are not just spoken, but heard, not just made, but taken seriously, and not just imagined, but realized. It allows you to step into interactions fully, projecting the energy, conviction, and presence necessary to create impact. Ultimately, confidence in asking is the bridge between intention and outcome. It transforms hesitation into decisive action, fear into assurance, and uncertainty into momentum. It allows you to navigate objections, articulate your vision, and maintain composure under pressure. Confidence communica. Tests value, inspires trust, and amplifies the effectiveness of every request. The art of asking is incomplete without it, because even the clearest, most courageous, and most purpose-driven requests can falter if they are not delivered with steady assurance and self-belief. By cultivating confidence, you learn to act decisively, embrace vulnerability without fear, and engage with the world from a position of strength. Confidence ensures that your asking is deliberate, compelling, and authentic. It allows you to transform each interaction into an opportunity, each request into a pathway, and each act of asking into a demonstration of agency and self-respect. This chapter teaches that confidence is not merely a personal trait. It is a strategic tool, a mindset, and a force that transforms the act of asking into a powerful, life-changing practice. The true power of asking is revealed when vulnerability is embraced. Vulnerability, often misunderstood as weakness, is in fact one of the most potent forms of strength. Most people avoid asking because it requires exposing their needs, fears, and desires to others. They fear judgment, rejection, or being perceived as inadequate. Yet the willingness to be seen, to lay your intentions bare, and to communicate openly is precisely what allows asking to become transformational. The fifth chapter focuses on the hidden strength in vulnerability, illustrating that when asking is approached with honesty and openness, it does not diminish you, it empowers you. Vulnerability is the conduit through which authentic connections are made, opportunities are unlocked, and influence is magnified. Vulnerability begins with self-acceptance. To ask openly, you must first embrace yourself fully, your strengths, weaknesses, desires, and fears. This acceptance is essential because it removes the internal barriers that create hesitation. People often avoid asking because they are not at peace with who they are, fearing that revealing their true selves will lead to rejection. Yet self-acceptance transforms vulnerability into a source of power. When you are comfortable with your own identity, you can communicate your needs and intentions without fear, projecting authenticity and confidence simultaneously. The clarity of self-assurance amplifies the effectiveness of every request. Embracing vulnerability also requires a shift in perspective about risk. Asking is inherently a risky act. It exposes uncertainty, and it opens the possibility of denial or judgment. Most people interpret this risk as a threat, but vulnerability teaches that risk is an opportunity. By daring to reveal your needs and aspirations, you invite growth, collaboration, and learning. Vulnerability transforms the perception of asking from a potentially humiliating act into a courageous declaration of purpose. Each moment of honest communication strengthens your capacity to navigate discomfort, enhancing resilience and self-belief. The more you practice asking vulnerably, the less fear dominates your interactions and the more naturally empowerment emerges. A central component of vulnerability in asking is emotional honesty. To be truly effective, your request must reflect genuine emotion and intention. This does not mean over-explaining or pleading. It means communicating with sincerity, demonstrating that your desires are real and meaningful. Emotional honesty conveys commitment, authenticity, and trustworthiness. When people sense that your request is not superficial or manipulative, but comes from a place of integrity, they are more likely to respond positively. Vulnerability creates a connection between your intention and the listener's perception, bridging gaps of misunderstanding and skepticism. Another key aspect is the willingness to expose. Uncertainty. Many people avoid asking because they feel they must have all the answers, project unshakable confidence, or mask doubt. Yet the art of asking thrives when you allow room for imperfection. Admitting what you do not know, expressing the desire for guidance, or revealing areas of need demonstrates courage and self-awareness. Vulnerability does not require weakness, it requires authenticity. By showing that you are human, open to learning, and willing to seek help, you invite collaboration and support. Others are drawn to honesty and are often inspired to respond when they see someone willing to take such a transparent step. Vulnerability also builds influence. People are naturally drawn to those who can express their needs openly, not from a place of entitlement, but from a place of honest aspiration. When you ask vulnerably, you create an environment in which others feel invited to contribute, assist, or mentor. Influence is amplified not through manipulation or force, but through the courage to be seen. Those who shy away from asking because of fear of judgment rarely build strong connections, whereas those who embrace vulnerability cultivate trust, empathy, and respect, transforming their requests into opportunities for meaningful impact. The chapter also highlights that vulnerability is a tool for breaking down barriers. Often, requests are met with resistance not because of the content, but because of the perceived distance or formality between people. Vulnerability humanizes asking. It signals openness, humility, and sincerity. By expressing your needs honestly and without pretense, you reduce resistance, create empathy, and establish a foundation for collaboration. Vulnerability is therefore strategic as well as emotional. It softens defenses, builds rapport, and increases the likelihood of favorable outcomes. Part of embracing vulnerability in asking is accepting the possibility of rejection without internalizing it. Vulnerability does not guarantee a positive response, but it guarantees that your request is authentic. Even if denied, a vulnerable ask maintains dignity and integrity. Fear of rejection often prevents people from ever asking, but vulnerability reframes rejection as a neutral outcome rather than a personal indictment. Each act of courageous openness reinforces resilience, teaching that the power of asking lies in the act itself, not merely in the result. Vulnerability also strengthens personal growth. Asking openly exposes areas where development is needed, providing clarity on skills, knowledge, or relationships that require attention. Each vulnerable request is a form of feedback and learning. The willingness to reveal gaps and seek assistance accelerates growth, deepens self-understanding, and fosters adaptability. Over time, this cycle of exposure, feedback, and adjustment cultivates mastery, not only of asking, but of the larger process of pursuing life with intentionality and courage. Another dimension of vulnerability is authenticity in voice. Your words must match your internal truth. Hesitation, over-polishing, or attempts to mask intention reduce the power of asking. When you speak with authenticity, your communication resonates. Others sense sincerity, and this resonance amplifies your influence. Vulnerability ensures that the message is aligned with the heart of the ask, eliminating pretense and creating an unmistakable presence of integrity. It is the alignment of inner truth with outward expression that makes asking compelling. The chapter also emphasizes that vulnerability is an act of courage in the context of human connection. Asking is relational, and its effectiveness often depends on trust and rapport. Vulnerability communicates respect for others' perspectives while simultaneously asserting your own needs. It demonstrates that you are willing to engage openly and honestly, a rare and compelling quality. When people perceive this courage, they are more inclined to respond with support, guidance, or collaboration. Vulnerability, therefore, is not a liability, but a strategic strength that deepens relationships and expands possibilities. Ultimately, the fifth chapter teaches that vulnerability is the hidden strength behind every powerful ask. Courage initiates action, resilience sustains it through rejection, clarity focuses it, and confidence projects it. Vulnerability gives it authenticity, emotional resonance, and relational impact. By embracing the willingness to be seen, to reveal your needs and intentions, and to communicate openly, you transform asking from a transactional act into a transformative force. Vulnerability turns fear into empowerment, hesitation into clarity, and isolation into connection. Through vulnerability, asking becomes more than a request. It becomes a statement of purpose, a demonstration of courage, and a pathway to growth and opportunity. The act of asking, when infused with genuine openness, connects intention with action, self-awareness with influence, and desire with realization. Those who master vulnerability in asking learn that exposure does not diminish them, it elevates them, opening doors, fostering relationships, and positioning them to receive what they need while inspiring trust and respect. In this way, vulnerability is not the weakness people fear. It is the most potent source of strength and transformation within the art of asking. The art of asking reaches its highest potential when persistence is understood and practiced. Persistence is the invisible engine that powers every successful request, bridging the gap between intention and outcome. Many people fail not because their requests are weak, unclear, or poorly framed, but because they stop too soon. They mistake an initial no or hesitation for a permanent barrier, abandoning their goals before the full potential of their asking can be realized. The sixth chapter focuses entirely on persistence, emphasizing that mastery of the art of asking requires relentless determination, patience, and the willingness to continue asking, refining, and reaching, even when progress seems slow or impossible. Persistence transforms asking from a one-time act into a process of deliberate action and unwavering commitment. Persistence begins with mindset. It requires the understanding that the first answer is rarely the final answer, and that obstacles, hesitation, or rejection are not indicators of failure but opportunities to refine your approach. Those who succeed in asking understand that progress is rarely linear and that resilience alone is insufficient without continued effort. The persist. Inti asker sees beyond immediate outcomes and focuses on the long-term goal, maintaining a vision of what is possible rather than being deterred by temporary setbacks. This mindset shifts asking from a transactional act into a strategic, ongoing engagement with the world, where each interaction becomes a building block toward eventual success. One critical aspect of persistence is reframing rejection. Every no carries lessons, insights, and the opportunity to adjust your approach. Persistent askers do not internalize rejection as a reflection of personal inadequacy. Instead, they interpret it as data, information about timing, presentation, or strategy. Each denial is a signal that something must be recalibrated, not abandoned. By viewing rejection as part of the process rather than a final verdict, persistence becomes sustainable and purposeful. The persistent asker remains undeterred because the goal is greater than any single moment of refusal. Persistence also demands creativity. When a request is initially denied or met with hesitation, the persistent individual seeks alternative routes rather than giving up. This could involve reframing the request, presenting additional value, offering flexibility, or identifying new avenues of influence. Creativity and persistence ensures that asking is not repetitive or desperate, but adaptive and strategic. The ability to pivot while maintaining the core objective separates those who stagnate from those who ultimately succeed. Persistence is not blind repetition. It is intelligent, purposeful continuation, constantly seeking a path toward fulfillment. Consistency is another key factor in the practice of persistence. Persistent asking is not sporadic, it is disciplined. It involves maintaining steady communication, following up thoughtfully, and demonstrating commitment over time. Sporadic or half-hearted attempts are unlikely to yield results because they fail to signal seriousness or dedication. Consistent effort communicates that you value your goal and are willing to invest time, energy, and attention to see it through. Over time, this consistency builds credibility, establishes presence, and creates momentum that eventually leads to opportunities previously inaccessible. Persistence also intersects with confidence and clarity. A persistent asker remains grounded in the clarity of their objective while projecting unwavering self-assurance. This alignment is critical because persistence without direction can appear pushy or unfocused, while clarity and confidence without persistence may lead to premature abandonment. The combination ensures that each follow-up, each refined request, and each renewed effort is deliberate, compelling, and impactful. Persistence amplifies the power of asking by reinforcing intention and demonstrating commitment, making it increasingly difficult for others to ignore or dismiss your request. Another dimension of persistence is emotional regulation. Repeated attempts can trigger frustration, doubt, or impatience, particularly when responses are slow or initially negative. The persistent asker must manage these emotions, maintaining composure and focus. Emotional control ensures that every interaction remains professional, respectful, and effective. Allowing frustration or despair to dictate behavior diminishes credibility and reduces the likelihood of a favorable response. Persistence thrives when effort is coupled with calm, thoughtful action, demonstrating maturity, resilience, and dedication. Persistence also fosters learning and refinement. Each request, each follow-up, and each interaction provides valuable feedback. Persistent askers analyze outcomes, observe patterns, and adjust their strategy accordingly. Over time, this iterative process hones not only the requests themselves, but also interpersonal skills, timing, communication style, and strategic thinking. Asking persistently is therefore not merely a demonstration of tenacity, it is an ongoing process of growth, reflection, and skill development. The art of asking becomes more precise, effective, and powerful with every cycle of effort and refinement. The chapter also emphasizes patience as a vital component of persistence. Results rarely appear immediately, and the ability to endure delay without losing momentum is essential. Patience allows the persistent asker to remain focused on long-term objectives rather than being swayed by short-term discomfort or discouragement. The intersection of patience and persistence ensures that effort is sustainable, measured, and strategic, allowing requests to unfold naturally while demonstrating unwavering commitment. This combination communicates seriousness and reliability, increasing the likelihood of a positive outcome over time. Persistence strengthens resilience, creating a feedback loop that reinforces courage and confidence. Every continued effort, every follow-up, every act of refined asking builds mental toughness. The persistent asker becomes increasingly capable of handling rejection, criticism, or setbacks without losing motivation. This resilience, in turn, enhances future asking, creating a cycle in which courage, clarity, confidence, vulnerability, and persistence feed one another. The result is a robust, adaptive, and highly effective approach to pursuing goals through asking. Another essential element of persistence is strategic timing. Persistence is not about overwhelming or nagging, it is about choosing the right moments to reinforce, refine, and reassert your request. Understanding when to pause, when to follow up, and when to escalate is critical. Strategic timing ensures that persistence is perceived as intentional and professional rather than irritating or desperate. Effective persistence balances patience with action, ensuring that every effort is deliberate, meaningful, and aligned with the ultimate objective. The 6th chapter also highlights the motivational power of persistence. Persistent asking reinforces belief in oneself, in the validity of one's goals, and in the possibility of achieving them. Each continued effort strengthens resolve and demonstrates commitment both to oneself and to others. The act of persisting becomes empowering. It is a declaration that your goals are worth pursuing, that your voice deserves to be heard, and that temporary setbacks cannot deter you from your vision. Persistence transforms asking into a practice of discipline, courage, and unyielding focus, turning ambition into measurable progress. Ultimately, the 6th chapter teaches that persistence is the engine that drives success in the art of asking. Courage initiates action, clarity guides it, confidence projects it, and vulnerability empowers it. Persistence ensures that no temporary obstacle or rejection can derail progress. Persistence is the commitment to continue asking, refining, learning, and adjusting until the goal is achieved. It transforms setbacks into lessons, delays into opportunities, and rejections into stepping stones. It ensures that asking is not a fleeting moment, but a sustained, strategic pursuit of meaningful objectives. By embracing persistence, you learn that the art of asking is not measured by immediate results, but by unwavering dedication to the process. Persistence ensures that each attempt builds toward the next, that momentum accumulates, and that opportunities previously inaccessible are gradually unlocked. The persistent asker turns every no into a step forward, every obstacle into a lesson, and every interaction into an opportunity to grow, influence, and succeed. Through persistence, asking becomes a disciplined, purposeful, and transformative force capable of creating meaningful change and opening doors that would otherwise remain closed. The final chapter of Mastering the Art of Asking focuses on the culmination of all the principles, integration, and action. By the time you reach this stage, you have explored courage, clarity, confidence, vulnerability, and persistence. Each of these components is powerful on its own, but true mastery comes from uniting them into a seamless practice. The 7th chapter emphasizes that asking is not a single skill, but a dynamic process, a way of interacting with the world that combines mindset, preparation, emotional intelligence, and relentless action. Mastery is achieved when asking becomes a natural extension of who you are, a disciplined, purposeful, and transformative habit that propels you toward your goals with precision and authenticity. Integration begins with understanding the interconnectedness of all elements. Courage initiates action, but without clarity, the effort may lack direction. Clarity provides purpose, but without confidence, it may fail to inspire belief in others. Confidence projects assurance, but without vulnerability, it can come across as detached or inauthentic. Vulnerability fosters connection, but without persistence, it may fade in the face of obstacles. The 7th chapter emphasizes that mastery lies in harmonizing these forces, creating a state in which each request is precise, compelling, authentic, and resilient. Asking becomes not a separate act, but a natural manifestation of a disciplined approach to life. One of the key lessons in this chapter is the importance of self-awareness in integration. Mastery requires a deep understanding of your strengths, weaknesses, and tendencies as an asker. Which elements come naturally, and which require deliberate cultivation? Are you courageous but hesitant in clarity, confident but resistant to vulnerability, persistent but unfocused? By identifying areas of strength and growth, you can intentionally integrate all aspects of effective asking into a coherent practice. Self-awareness ensures that your efforts are deliberate, strategic, and aligned with both your personal values and your goals. Another critical focus is the alignment of internal state and external action. Mastery is not only about knowing the principles intellectually, but about embodying them in every interaction. Your thoughts, emotions, and intentions must match your words and actions. If clarity is present in your mind, but hesitation or fear dominates your demeanor, the impact of asking diminishes. If confidence exists internally but vulnerability is absent in communication, authenticity is lost. The 7th chapter teaches that the art of asking reaches its full potential when inner alignment ensures that every request resonates with integrity, presence, and conviction. Preparation and reflection play a vital role in achieving mastery. Each request is an opportunity to practice integration, to refine the balance between courage, clarity, confidence, vulnerability, and persistence. Reflection allows you to analyze outcomes, extract lessons, and adjust your approach for future interactions. Preparation ensures that your requests are strategic, thoughtful, and intentional. Mastery emerges from repeated cycles of practice, reflection, and refinement, transforming each act of asking into a demonstration of skill, insight, and self-mastery. The 7th chapter also emphasizes adaptability. Mastery is not rigid, it is dynamic. Different situations, individuals, and contexts require nuanced application of the principles. Some requests demand greater courage and persistence, while others require heightened clarity or vulnerability. The master asker reads the environment, anticipates reactions, and adjusts approach accordingly. Adaptability ensures that asking remains effective across contexts, audiences, and challenges. It is the ability to apply principles fluidly without compromising authenticity or purpose that distinguishes mastery from mere competence. Emotional intelligence is another cornerstone of integration. Mastery involves sensing the emotional landscape of those you are asking, responding with empathy, and adjusting tone, approach, and timing to maximize receptivity. This does not mean manipulating emotions, but rather understanding that the art of asking is relational and that connection enhances effectiveness. Emotional intelligence allows the asker to navigate resistance, build rapport, and communicate requests in a way that is compelling, respectful, and human. The 7th chapter teaches that mastery is not only strategic, but relational, balancing self-expression with awareness of others. Mastery also emphasizes the courage to act decisively. All the preparation, clarity, confidence, and vulnerability in the world are ineffective if not accompanied by action. The master asker recognizes that hesitation erodes opportunity and that the act of asking itself is transformative. Action creates momentum, reinforces learning, and signals commitment. The 7th chapter underscores that asking is not theoretical, it is kinetic, requiring bold, deliberate, and timely expression. The courage to act is inseparable from the wisdom to ask effectively. Another essential aspect of mastery is resilience in the face of outcomes. Mastery does not guarantee success with every request, but it guarantees that each attempt is executed with skill, integrity, and intentionality. Rejection or delay is not failure, it is feedback, an opportunity to refine, recalibrate, and continue. The master asker internalizes outcomes without allowing them to define self-worth, using each interaction to reinforce skill, confidence, and persistence. Mastery is sustained by the understanding that asking is a continuous practice, a lifelong process of growth, experimentation, and refinement. Integration also involves maintaining a long-term perspective. Mastery recognizes that asking is not only about immediate gain, but about cultivating relationships, reputation, and influence over time. Thoughtful, skillful requests build credibility, trust, and respect. Each act of asking contributes to a larger narrative of competence, reliability, and integrity. The 7th chapter emphasizes that the master asker approaches every interaction with both immediate objectives and long-term strategy in mind, balancing assertiveness with patience, ambition with empathy, and self-interest with relational awareness. The chapter highlights that true mastery transforms the act of asking into a form of leadership. When executed with skill, asking inspires action, guides decision-making, and motivates collaboration. It is a demonstration of vision, courage, and influence. The master asker does not merely request, they model how to engage purposefully, communicate effectively, and pursue goals with disciplined, intentional effort. This transformation of asking into leadership underscores its broader significance as a life skill, a tool for impact, and a path to meaningful achievement. The 7th chapter concludes with the understanding that mastery is a living practice. It requires continual refinement, self-reflection, and commitment to personal growth. Mastery is achieved not by reaching a final destination, but by the ongoing integration of courage, clarity, confidence, vulnerability, and persistence into every act of asking. Each request becomes a microcosm of this integration, an opportunity to demonstrate skill, authenticity, and purpose. Over time, the practice solidifies into a natural, instinctive approach to life, where asking is not a challenge but a habit, not a fear but a strength, and not a transaction but a transformative force. Ultimately, the 7th chapter teaches that mastery of asking is the convergence of knowledge, skill, mindset, and action. It is the ability to act decisively, speak with clarity, maintain confidence, embrace vulnerability, and persist relentlessly, all while aligning internal intention with external expression. Mastery transforms asking from a sporadic or fearful act into a disciplined, empowered, and strategic practice capable of creating extraordinary outcomes. It allows individuals to move through life with agency, purpose, and influence, turning opportunities into reality and potential into achievement. Through integration, the art of asking becomes a philosophy, a way of being that shapes every interaction, every decision, and every pursuit. It empowers individuals to communicate effectively, build meaningful connections, and pursue goals with unwavering determination. Mastery ensures that asking is no longer a simple request or momentary act, but a transformative practice that unlocks possibility, fosters growth, and positions the asker to achieve remarkable outcomes. By the 7th chapter, the journey culminates in the realization that asking is not merely a skill to be learned. It is an art to be embodied, a life practice that, when mastered, changes everything. As we reach the conclusion of this journey through the art of asking, it becomes clear that asking is far more than a simple act. It is a way of life, a practice that shapes the way we pursue our dreams, connect with others, and create opportunity. Throughout this book, we have explored courage, clarity, confidence, vulnerability, persistence, and the mastery that comes from integrating all these elements. Each chapter has built upon the last, revealing that asking is not an isolated moment, but a continuous process of self-awareness, intentional action, and disciplined practice. The power of asking lies not in the words themselves, but in the mindset, presence, and determination that underlie them. And understanding this changes everything. Asking begins with courage. Every great achievement starts with a simple step, the willingness to speak, to reach out, and to face the fear of rejection. Courage transforms hesitation into action and opens the door to possibilities that would otherwise remain locked. When courage meets clarity, your requests become precise, purposeful, and compelling. Knowing exactly what you want, why you want it, and how to articulate it ensures that every ask carries weight and intention. Clarity aligns your vision with your words, creating focus and eliminating ambiguity that often undermines requests before they are even fully expressed. Confidence amplifies this process, transforming clarity into influence. When you believe in your own worth, capabilities, and the value of your request, your energy becomes magnetic. Confidence communicates assurance, competence, and credibility, inspiring others to respond favorably. Yet confidence without authenticity falls flat. But is where vulnerability enters the equation. Vulnerability is not weakness. It is the courage to be seen fully, to reveal your intentions and needs honestly, and to invite connection. When your asking carries authenticity, it resonates on a human level, creating trust, empathy, and alignment with those you reach out to. Persistence ensures that your asking does not stop at the first obstacle or rejection. It teaches you that every no is information, every delay is an opportunity, and every moment of resistance is a chance to refine, adjust, and continue with purpose. Persistence turns temporary setbacks into stepping stones, and it cultivates resilience, patience, and strategic adaptability. This combination of courage, clarity, confidence, vulnerability, and persistence forms the foundation for mastery. Mastery transforms asking into an integrated, habitual practice that is deliberate, strategic, and unstoppable. Each request becomes an expression of skill, authenticity, and unwavering commitment. Ultimately, the art of asking is not merely about receiving, it is about growth, empowerment, and action. It is a practice that shapes your mindset, strengthens your relationships, and propels you toward your goals with focus and determination. Those who master asking understand that opportunity is not given, it is requested, pursued, and earned. The lessons in this book are not theoretical, they are tools to be applied, practiced, and lived. By embracing the principles of asking, courage, clarity, confidence, vulnerability, persistence, and mastery, you step into a life of agency, influence, and extraordinary potential. As you move forward, remember that every moment presents the chance to ask, to act, and to claim what you seek. Let this book serve as a guide, a reminder, and a catalyst for action. Apply these lessons consistently, speak with clarity and conviction, embrace vulnerability without fear, persist with unwavering determination, and integrate all these principles into a practice that becomes second nature. In doing so, you do more than ask. You transform yourself, inspire others, and open doors that were once closed. The art of asking is the art of living boldly, intentionally, and relentlessly. It is your key to growth, opportunity, and lasting success.